7 prediction preview, what you want to call it. That's what we're going to call it today. I'm Brian H. Waters here, live reporting from Haps News, here to discuss NFL Week 7. So make sure you download the app. I mean, you can get the video on Facebook, you can get it on Twitter, you can get it on YouTube. That's cool. But the app is what you want to have, because guess what? The app allows me to do. If you want to join in, I can bring you in. I can simply invite you to join in on this chat and this conversation. So I can't do that if you're coming directly from Facebook, but if you're on the Haps app, I can bring you right in. You could join in the conversation and you can go live with me. So, and it's just cool. Like I said, the app is real cool. As Peter checking in from Seattle. So hello to Peter. He's one of the stakeholders. So, yeah, let's talk about it. You know, we're going to start with my Baltimore Ravens. Let me put that on the screen because they made a big move today acquiring Yannick Ngakoue. I hope I said that right. I looked over it, listened to it. But he will now, they acquired him for a couple of draft picks. So it's a huge move for the Ravens. I'm really excited about it. People call it a surprise. I got to say, my guy, we call him Pop, Clifton Diggs, was on it. He said, this is a move. And I'm not lying. This was the exact move he said just a few weeks ago in our Ravens group chat that the Ravens should make, that they should get Yannick because it would be huge. Now, a lot of people, they always look and say, all right, the Ravens need offense. They need offense. We know that. But guess what? If you can't, I don't care. At the way Kansas City is going, right? At the rate Kansas City is going, there's no way you can construct a team together without hurting yourself to put together a team that can go toe-to-toe with them. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. Hello to Alfred and hello to Mark joining in. Appreciate y'all coming on in. The Ravens, no, everybody knows that. Unless you go get, I don't know, the New England Patriots from 2007, there's no talent right now that you can go toe-to-toe, score for score. So the defense, the secondary, Jimmy Smith and Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters, Chuck Clark, and Deshaun Elliott, that secondary is solid. Now, we all saw Philly had some lucky plays, but I will say this about those lucky plays. I looked at a Ravens team, that defense was kind of lackadaisical in the backfield. That's just the way I saw it. You know, I could be wrong, but I just saw, I was like, we'll get it, whatever. But I'm like, you know what? You got to do more. I don't think they'll let that happen again. So we shall see. But it's a huge move from the Ravens. And guess what? Eric DeCosta has said more deals could be coming. Made it clear he's not done yet. So the Ravens are certainly in win now, as this is Lamar Jackson's 3rd season. They definitely want to win. You got like I said, the best secondary, in my opinion, in the business right now. A lot of people are saying wide receiver. Now, word on the street, Dez Bryant is headed to Baltimore. He's going to look to be put on the practice squad, which I think is cool. I think it's more of a power move. You don't have to pay him the vet minimum. I know a lot of people aren't really excited about that here in Baltimore. They're wondering why, but I said this. Dak isn't Dak, and Dak is one of my favorite wide receivers, probably in the history of the game, to be honest with you. And what I mean is, not saying I'm thinking he's one of the all-time greats, but if I was to list off the top 5 or top 10 receivers that I really enjoy watching play the game, Dez Bryant is up there. He was at a time when he was with the Cowboys, at a time where I was a huge Dallas Cowboys fan, not so much anymore. But I look at him and I said, you know what? It's not bad. It's not bad at all, so we shall see. I think that he will I think that, Dez will come in and when the time is right, if he'll earn his spot on the roster. As I see post fees joining in, I think we should have got AB over Dez. I haven't wanted Antonio Brown, but I'm not really giving up on that move just yet. You hear all this talk, unless something has broken in the past few minutes, you hear all this talk about he's looked like he's going to Seattle. But you could see moves could be being made that we don't know about. We do have an advantage. We got his blood cousin on the team here in Baltimore. So I think that would be something people would be, I'm not going to say he's willing to take a discount because you got to get your money, but it could have some influence over the deal. And I'm just not ready to say the Ravens are done as far as Antonio Brown is concerned. And what better team for him to play with than to stick it to Pittsburgh, right? So it'd be nice if they could have got him. Well, I think he's eligible to play next week, which will be in time for the Pittsburgh game. But I do think you can still have him and Dez. Dez is just on the practice squad. So I know somewhere the money is different, but he can also help some of those other players. But like I said, Dez was we started seeing that when Dak Prescott came in, he wasn't using him. Dez was already battling a foot injury a lot of people may have forgotten about. So what we saw was Dez and Dak never got that chemistry, and that's unfortunate. I saw up here fantasy football tight end Schultz for the Cowboys or tight end Cook for the Saints. To me, the Saints put up points, so because it's hard to see going against them. I'm not the biggest fantasy expert, hot fire sauce, to be honest with you, but it's kind of hard to go against the Saints. But then again, Cowboys are playing the Washington football team, but their defense is okay. It's not great, but it's not bad. So we shall see with that. But let's move on. OBJ, he is apparently unhappy in Cleveland. He wants to be a baller, to say the least, right? He wants them to go to him. He wants the ball to come to him. And guess what? That's what he should want. He's a wide receiver, folks. I don't understand when people get upset. Oh, man, wide receivers are divas. They're selfish. Well, if you playing wide receiver and you shouldn't you want the ball? Don't you want that person to show up at big games? You want your wide receiver to say, give me the ball. You don't want him to run away from the big moment. Just like in baseball in the outfield, if they hit the ball, you want to be the guy to go get it. You don't want to run from the moment. And I don't think this experiment in Cleveland is working. And this is a team people actually thought they were going to win the Super Bowl last year. And then they even said this year, the Browns going to get it together. The Browns going to get it together. People picked the Browns over the Ravens, like the Ravens didn't just go 14-2 without completely depleting their team. They picked the Browns over the Steelers, like the Steelers don't have a Hall of Fame quarterback, which, I personally think they're still a little overrated. They're not that bad. They're not that great either. I'll get into that later. But I see that with with the OBJ, at this point, I think it's time to demand a trade. I do. I think it's time for him to demand a trade and see where else he can go. It's very unfortunate for things to end the way they did for him in New York. He was the biggest star around the mid 2010s, especially after that catch on Sunday Night Football. But unhappy in Cleveland. I don't think the situation in Cleveland is getting any better. Baker Mayfield's not that great. And I saw a cool meme the other day, and it said, here's what Baker Mayfield. It's always, he talks about how good he is. Then it's a cycle, it talks about how good he is, plays a bad game, not worried about the media, not worried about what people say. People write him off. Then he does a good game. And it's the constant cycle over and over and over again. So, I just don't think OBJ and Baker are meshing well. And I got him on my fantasy team, so I was kind of hoping he did go off when he wasn't playing the Ravens. I don't play fantasy football for money, to be honest with you. As my man Joe says, he's trash on Facebook. I don't think OBJ is that great. No, I don't think Baker's that great. I never thought OBJ was a great wide receiver. I thought he was really good. I thought he was a great talent and had potential, but I never, it's just some reason he has great hands. Obviously, we saw the catches he made, but for some reason things aren't meshing with him and Baker Mayfield. And when I was at the game last year, Ravens and Browns, Marlon Humphrey shut him down. I think that's when a lot of people outside of Baltimore started realizing how good Humphrey was, because he couldn't get anywhere. He was absolutely shut down. And that's what perhaps we'll see what happens. He plays Cincinnati this week. I think he's going to have a good game. OBJ is another one. Sometimes I'm not going to say whine, but he'll express how he feels. And he's going through that phase that LeBron James went through when LeBron went to Miami, where he didn't want to be a villain. He just wanted to be a good guy. And it's like OBJ wants to be a good guy. He wants to be liked, but he also wants to do him. So it's weird. He has to find that balance. And speaking of which, he just was he was banned from his alma mater, LSU, for 2 years because he gave out $2,000 worth of $100 bills. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Joe Burrow snitched on him. I think that's what happened. I think Burrow said something like, "Yes, real money. I don't care. I'm about to get drafted anyway." Everybody knew it was real money, but that's another conversation. I don't see what the problem was. He was rewarding kids. It wasn't like it was a bet. It was just like, hey, here, congratulations. A gift maybe on the field. I guess that's the problem. So, but the NCAA, the NFL have some weird rules, man. Some very weird rules. If you haven't done so, download the HAPS app. Make sure you drop your comments in the chat. Let me know what you think about this. And then make sure you follow me on here at Brian H. Waters. So make sure you do that. And so let's talk about the game tonight, as we have the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the New York Football Giants. Should be an interesting one. I think Philly gets it together. I think the Giants are in a tremendous rebuild. So I think Philly gets it together, and I think they pull off the win, and all will be right with Philadelphia fans. I think a lot of people picking them to take this division. And people have been trashing the NFC East, calling it the NFC least. To me, it just reminds me of that awkward transitional year that a lot of people may forget. And I want to say it was 2010 or 11 when the NFC West was the same way. And matter of fact, their last game, it was the 6-9 6-9 Seahawks versus the 7-8 Rams, if I'm not mistaken. That might not be I'm almost certain that was the records. And that's when the Seahawks won. And not only did they win, they went ahead to go to the playoffs, and Beastquake happened. So when Beastquake happened, that y'all can give me awards too on here. So yeah, make sure y'all do that. Come on the HAPS app and give me awards. You can also sponsor me, so that's really cool. Buy me a cup of coffee. But yeah, Beastquake happened, and I thought that was interesting. And that's when a lot of people were saying, the NFC West was trash, but that could be the NFC East this year. The Cowboys are better on paper than they're playing. Obviously, we know what happened with the, unfortunate injury to Dez Bryant. What I don't understand with the Cowboys is how come when somebody gets hurt, they forget how to play football, or somebody gets suspended. When Zeke got suspended, and you heard players coming out saying that they felt like Jerry Jones was trying to make a point and then blame the league for suspending Zeke, right? So now Dak gets hurt. And I understand he's the quarterback, the franchise quarterback, but you would think that if they had great play calling, a guy like Andy Dalton, who should be a more than serviceable quarterback, could go out there and get the ball to a guy like Amari Cooper, or CeeDee Lamb. Like, I was watching the game and I was like, man, that Lamb, he's really good. So we'll see. Somebody jumped in the chat, says, what should the Jets do with Sam Darnold? I don't know, because I think that's a Jets problem. When I watched him on Thursday night at one night, I was like, okay, he took off running. I think, with him, it's coaching. And for whatever reason, you losing some great talent. Jamal Adams and Le'Veon Bell, both out of there. But you still got, the coach. So it's more than just the players. So if that's happening, if you got these guys ready to leave, then there has to be a bigger issue. So I think the Jets need to, first of all, probably clear the whole coaching staff, to be honest with you. There's other coaches out there more than capable. And it's sad because it's a team that people pay attention to and they love. But for whatever reason, they can't get together. New York football just isn't good right now. And like I said earlier, I was talking about the Giants and the Eagles. I just think the Eagles will go out there and win. Carson Wentz, I know people was talking about him. He's more than a good quarterback, in my opinion. The issue with him, as my man Joe says, Philly by 14. I can agree, maybe even by more. But the issue is most of his guys are hurt. And I don't care who you are. If your offensive line is hurt, that's a problem. And I saw the way they were playing Sunday and the way they were trying to get back into the game. And I think this is one of those times the Ravens, they went out there and got up early, but they kind of like slacked off a little bit. And it's not like where before in the previous era where they would play down to the competition. This team just went out there and played to a point where, okay, we got this in the bag. And Philly kept on pouring. So if I'm Philly, if I'm an Eagles fan, I feel better the way they finished that game, even though they lost, than I would have the way they began that game. Time where they could get into the game. And that's when I said, early before that, when it started, I said I had a feeling Washington was going to win, but, so. Let's see. And thank you, Lucia. I hope I said your name right for the award. I appreciate that. So let's see. What else? Then speaking of Washington, they will play the Dallas Cowboys. This is probably the one time where people just don't care. I have not seen not one single ounce of trash talking between the Washington football team and the Dallas Cowboys fans. Usually this week is a big deal. It's Dallas week. Somebody said, the Washington football team, write out WFT. Somebody said it's WFT versus WTF. Y'all know what that stands for, but it's very weird. It's a different week this year. It's a different in the air. This was supposed to be, and it's crazy because this was supposed to be Dak Prescott versus Dwayne Haskins. Instead, I believe Alex Smith will be one starting versus Andy Dalton. Cowboys 2-4 and Washington 1-5. I think Cowboys win this one. They got to get it together. Once they do, they'll realize that, I think things will be back on track. That will put them at 3-4, and they'll be able to win this division. They'll be able to win this division, and we'll see. But I think it's just, I don't know. I think it's interesting to see how things play out with this one. So, also news in NFL move the Seattle and Arizona game to Sunday night. That's a great move. You're going to have Kyler Murray versus Russell Westbrook. The Arizona Cardinals back on Sunday Night Football. I mean, this was a team who, was in contention for, they were championship contenders a few years ago, and somebody's running things great over there. I mean, obviously, if a guy like Larry Fitzgerald stayed there, never wanted to leave, they was down at the bottom, only to get back. Now, a 4-2 record in going into week 7 is very respectable. This is a division game, so it's not just an easy, Seattle's going to go blow them out. I want to see Kyler Murray. I'll get into my predictions later, but it'd be cool to see an upset right here. The Bucks and the Raiders now have an earlier start. This is interesting. The Bucks offensive line, the Raiders offensive line are in COVID protocol. So That's another thing that's crazy. I mean, people wear masks. Somebody said, who should they start this week? Josh Allen or Russell Wilson? Russ is just prime time on Sunday Night Football. I would go with him. Josh Allen will be going up against the Jets. Oh, never mind. Yeah, I would go Josh Allen. But see, it's Russ. On a scale of 10, from 10 to 10, how much do you love Cam Newton? Love Cam Newton. I love Cam Newton. Always been a fan of his since. Never been the biggest college football fan. I tend to, USC and Miami are teams I like, but I tend to watch when, there's like that player who's like, everybody's like in the Heisman race. So I watched their games and I liked them ever since. But was disappointed when he lost the Super Bowl. But so yeah, that's what I'm thinking. A tough call. Yeah, it's a very tough call because the Bills could use a game like this to touch up, and it's a division game. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them put up 40 points on the Jets. The Jets are just a bad team. So I wouldn't be surprised. But then again, it's Russell Wilson, and Wilson can do it all. And he's showing, like, when he started out, it was all about his defense, right? But then, and he had guys like a Percy Harvin, a Golden Tate. Now, him and, he's kind of like Tom Brady-esque with receivers that aren't big names, but he's going out there making plays. And Tom Brady in the early to the mid 2000s, before Randy Moss came in. Do you think the Falcons will be a turnaround this season with the win against Minnesota and the next game against the Lions? That's a good question. I think they could. I said earlier that earlier on this week when the Dodgers beat the Braves to win the National League pennant, I said that I thought that the Falcons should have made, they took the win that Atlanta was owed that day, right? It was like, man, okay, they won finally, but they sacrificed the Braves in the process. But in all seriousness, I think they might could turn around, but I don't see them doing much. They're in a tough division. I think it's a wrap. It might be time for them to start looking towards their future, if you know what I mean. Jets have a pretty elite QB. I say give them a few weeks, the Jets will mount a playoff run. A few weeks? The Jets? Are we talking about the New York Jets? They're still in the division with the Bills and the Patriots. And the Patriots, they might not be, your nephew or your cousin's Patriots, but they're still the Patriots. Even at 2-3, they're still a team that you still got to look out because they got the best coach to ever do it. Change the name of the Lombardi to the Belichick. And guess what? I'm a Ravens fan saying this. Not even nowhere near that New England Patriots fan, but I just respect Bill Belichick's game and the way he goes about preparing. Yeah, so that's where I feel. I just think you gotta change the name. You change the name to the Bill Belichick Trophy because he has more than anybody else, more than any other coach at 6. So, but folks, let's get into these predictions. Starting tonight, the New York Football Giants taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Giants coming into the game 1-5. Eagles coming in 1-4-1. You know what? That's kind of 1-5 or it's 2-4 if you don't like the tie rule. But I got the Eagles winning by a lot. Eagles jump on, and then they'll have the boatload of confidence to win this division. So a win for them and a loss for Dallas. They're in first place. So, but yeah, I got the Eagles winning this game. Let me know what y'all think. Let's see. We also got the Jets will be. Shout out to my man Brian. Brian ain't lying on Twitter, but on Facebook, it's Brian Langford says Jets will beat Buffalo. Y'all, those who are on Facebook, I may miss some of your comments, so I definitely invite you to download the Haps app. It's absolutely free and it's smooth. So, I would. Lucia says I would love for Garoppolo to go back as QB to the Patriots. Yeah, I think you and Bill Belichick would love that. That would have been interesting. Says Joe Flacco is a great quarterback. If he gets hot, he could take any team to the Super Bowl. Did you read The Dynasty? Look, Joe Flacco took my team to the Super Bowl. Oh, you probably can't see it. Yeah, there we go. Took my team to the Super Bowl, but those Joe Flacco days are over. He got his ring, he got his money, and that was it. So yeah, that's how I feel about Smoking Joe. Thank you, but those days are over. The game of the week, in my opinion, I think it might be a lot of games. This the one that probably should have been flexed, to be honest with you. That's the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Tennessee Titans. Both teams enter in 5-0. Tennessee's at home, and I'm going with Tennessee to win. I don't like neither one of these teams this year. Well, I never root for the Steelers, but I don't like the Titans after the playoffs last year. But I respect their game. Do I think Ryan Tannehill's better than Ben Roethlisberger? Not at all. But I do think the Titans are a better team than the Steelers. I look at, what was it, week 2? I think it was week 2 or 3. The Steelers almost lost to the Broncos. They put it together, but that was a winnable game for the Broncos. Now, I know they got momentum and everything, but they haven't played like this is their toughest matchup. You know, the Ravens are 5-1 because they played the Kansas City Chiefs. But then they'll play the Steelers next week. But I got the Steelers losing. I know my cousin ain't gonna like that one at all. But I got the Titans winning this one. It's gonna be a close game. But this is a game. This is a game the Titans must win to prove to people they belong here. To prove that they are contenders and not just happy to be in the playoffs. And they had a close one against Houston last week. But then we go down to the nation's capital, or I should say Landover, Maryland, where the Dallas Cowboys at 2-4 take on the Washington football team at 1-5. Also read an article where it said they might be nameless or still the football team next year as well. If you go in the stadium, the Ring of Honor is not there. As a matter of fact, it's just blank. So I guess they're waiting before they come up with a name and color scheme. But the Cowboys win this one. I think the Cowboys win this one by 10 points. You know, I got them. You'll see a big game from Zeke. He kind of looked irritated and say he got to step up his leadership, so they'll get it done. Then we got the Buffalo Bills coming in at 4-2, taking on the 0-6. The only team that hasn't won a game, the New York Jets, and they will not get that win this week. I got the Buffalo Bills beating them, I'm going to say by 30. Yeah, I ain't betting on these games, so I throw any number out there. I'm going to say by 30. But then we got a divisional game coming up as the Carolina Panthers go down to New Orleans to take on the New Orleans Saints. Carolina's 3-3. The Saints are 3-2. I got the Saints winning this one. The Saints will go marching in and they will win this. They're just one of those teams that's just consistently good. You could almost say they're kind of like the Steelers of the NFC. And then you got the Green Bay Packers at 4-1 taking on the 1-5 Houston Texans. If I had to pick an upset, I'm going to go with the Texans right here. I think the Texans are at home. They find a way to get it done. I think you'll see a big upset right here. So that's the upset I'm picking for this week. This is how crazy I'm serious. I think it was going to be about 30, too bad the NFL sucks right now. Okay. Who's your Super Bowl matchup? I'll give you that at the end of the show. Packers march on, but it will be close. I don't know, Mike. I got a gut feeling Houston gonna find their swag and find a way to get it together. But and then we got the Cleveland Browns coming in at 4-2, taking on the 1-4 and the one team that tied with the Eagles, the Cincinnati Bengals. I got Cleveland winning this one, but. So I'm gonna say this: Cleveland wins. OBJ gets 120 yards. But if they lose, you will see him really upset. And I think the trade deadline might be this week. If it's not, if it's next week, I think you'll see him out of there. But I think Cleveland wins this one. The Bengals are a team they beat up on. If you look at the Browns record, they beat the Ravens. I mean, they lost to the Ravens and they lost to the Steelers. That's the reason why they're 4-2. So they're kind of like the Steelers. They played, in my opinion, they played bad teams, and then when they played good teams, they lost to them. So, you know. And then we go on to Atlanta as the 1-5 Atlanta Falcons host the 2-3 Detroit Lions. I know somebody asked, could the Falcons turn it around? Nope. Lions will get it done. No, I think it's over. I think Lions get done. Queen of what's that? Queef Mountain. How we feeling about the Giants and Eagles? Sorry you missed it. I said that the Giants will lose. I think got the Eagles by 14, maybe more on that one. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. So then we go on to Las Vegas as the Tampa Bay, the rematch of a Super Bowl, one of my favorite Super Bowls to watch because I really enjoyed that Tampa Bay Bucks team. Plus, it was fun to play with on Madden 02-03. But the Tampa Bay Bucks at 4-2 will take on the Las Vegas Raiders at 3-2. I'm gonna go with man. This is a tough one. I wanted to go with the Raiders, but it depends on the offensive line with COVID. So because of that, I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I think Tom Brady goes out there, gets it done. You know, it's not easy to pick against Brady, but I think said if you got the Raiders playing anyone, they deserve. If you got the Raiders playing anyone, they have no offensive line due to COVID reserve list. Yeah, exactly. You know, I think that's the problem. It said total points as far as, are you talking about the Eagles and the Giants? If I would say 30-14 would be the score tonight. And then we go on. This is 1-5, the 1-5 Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the 1-4 Los Angeles Chargers, or Stone Cold Steve Austin would say, the Los Angeles. But I got the Chargers winning this one. I think they get a big win. You know, they got one win this year, and y'all know who that was against. No, I forgot who that was against that fast. I was thinking of another game. But anyway, yeah, I think the Chargers win this one. Jacksonville got to travel to the West Coast. They're already not a good football team as it is. And then we got the 3-3 San Francisco 49ers taking on the 2-3 New England Patriots. Man, I think the 49ers win this one. It's going to be tough, though. And you got... See, you also got a factor. You got, I think Jimmy G comes back, right? And he's going to be going against his old coach. So that's something to think about. But in the end, I do have Jimmy G and them. I got Jimmy G and them winning. It says Derek Carr is a washed quarterback. Gruden should stay retired. Bucks about 21. Yeah, a lot of people, Gruden is. He got the bag, he got the bag. He was great on football, Monday Night Football, but I mean, I guess he wanted to go back in the booth. But he was a fairly young coach, so yeah, I'm not sure. So I need the 49ers to win, but I think Cam will do well. Belichick will force Garoppolo into at least 3 turnovers. See, that's the thing I'm thinking about because Belichick is such a mastermind. Like I said earlier, Belichick. The Super Bowl trophy should be named to Belichick because he's just could have been the coach for the Ravens, and maybe we have even more championships. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the 49ers though. That's gonna be my pick. I'm gonna put that down. As they say, put it on paper, picking the San Francisco 49ers. Then we got the 5-1 world champion Kansas City Chiefs taking on the 2-3 Denver Broncos. This won't be a blowout, because simply the Broncos and the Chiefs are in the same division, but this won't be a blowout. But I got the Chiefs winning. I don't see them losing this game at all. It says biggest thing for 49ers is running the ball. Yep, that's right. That's going to be their biggest thing. They're going to have to run. And then moving on to Sunday Night Football, the game I mentioned earlier that got flexed, the 5-0 Seattle Seahawks. Why did I almost call them the Seattle Supersonics? But the Seattle Seahawks taking on the 4-2 Arizona Cardinals. I got the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals get it done. I think Kyler Murray goes out there. Sunday Night Football shows who he is, and I think they win this game. I think it's going to be close. I know it's hard to go against Russ, and Russ goes out there and he typically does this thing on a Sunday night or whenever the big lights are on, but I'm picking another upset. It says Drew Lock is playing some good football. Broncos in with a chance. Broncos will lose, but teams are finding a formula to beating Chiefs. Yes, they are finding formulas to beating them. And as long as they can, I need the Ravens to watch the film. We'll see. So, let's see. And then for Monday Night Football, we have the 5-1 Chicago Bears taking on the 4-2 Los Angeles Rams. I got the Bears winning this one. The Bears are good. They're a good team. Under the radar, Nick Foles, he just does better when he's not the starting quarterback at the beginning of the year. He comes out there, you give him the job in the beginning, it's like, but, he's going against his former team. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but I think he gets it done. I think that I don't know if the Rams, I don't think they're a great team. They're okay, but I think Nick Foles and the boys get it done, and I think the Bears march on. They go out to the West Coast and beat them. So we shall see. So those are my predictions. So to recap my upsets, for those who may have missed them, because I got a couple, and it said Rams are going to win this one in Sophie. Cardinals have issues rushing the passer while Chandler Jones, Seattle win. Yeah, that's a good point. But, Jalen Ramsey and the crew take out the frustration of last week versus the Bears. They should. They should, but, Khalil Mack. But yeah, my upsets this week are the Texans over the Packers and the Cardinals over the Seahawks. Those are upsets I'm picking. They call it upset for a reason. It may sound crazy to some folks, but that's what I think is going to happen, folks. This week shall be fun to watch. I'm excited. I think as long as I really hope the Titans beat the Steelers, because I want the Steelers to be humbled, and it would be good to see them coming in Baltimore. Both teams at 5-1, but it would be cool to see the Ravens hand the Steelers their first loss. So, folks, let's see. Oh, thanks, Drew. Appreciate the award. Mac ain't been the same this year. That is true, but this is a good time to get it together. This is certainly a good time to get it together. So, yeah, like I said, Steelers and Titans, that's the game of the week to me. I think that's the one I wish was on. That was flex. Recap, Ravens acquiring Yannick today. I thought that was a huge move. Glad that they did it. Calais Campbell and Yannick reunited. Both of them was a part of the Jaguars team that was so close. That should have been in the Super Bowl against the Philadelphia Eagles that year. Unfortunately, they let it slip away. So, yeah, Titans are the most balanced they've ever been. Really? So you going back to the 2000s? Back when you had, Steve Air McNair and that defense, the freak, Javon Curse. You think they're more balanced than that team? That's interesting. I mean, you closer to him, so you might see some things I don't see. You cover the team, Mike. So, all right. Well, we shall see. 5-0. 5-0. So we shall see. But folks, that's gonna do it for this episode. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Those who tuned in on Haps, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit. you name it. I appreciate you tuning in. Mike says they got better weapons all around, offensively, they're more balanced. I mean, they got the freight train, the human machine in Derrick Henry. But before I go, can Derrick Henry can that style of play last all the way to January, February? If they keep feeding him the ball, can that last? Will he be able to hold up? Only time will tell. I do know one thing: the Ravens knew what they had to do if they wanted to beat them, and that was go out there and beef up that defensive line. And part of beefing up the defensive line was acquiring Yannick to go with Campbell, and now you're going to have Brandon Williams there. You got Judon. Woo! That's gonna be a squad. This may be the best defensive line the Ravens have had since they won Super Bowl 35. So it's a lot of good football coming. I'm ready to see what other moves are being made. But y'all follow me at Brian H. Waters. That's where I'll be if I watch the game. When I watch the games, I'll do my trash talking. So shout out to everybody tuning in. I appreciate it. So until the next time, folks, I'm Brian H. Waters. Goodbye.